Jim calms them down, asking them to help each other in the time of need. After being locked, Paul goes into cardiac arrest. Linda immediately runs to him, only to find out that he is faking. He takes the chance to push her aside and run away after locking her in. In the bunker, Junior approaches Angie again. She has realized that she needs to manipulate him to let her free. Hence, she tells him about the closed tunnel they used to go to as kids. The dome might not work in the tunnel, which means they can go outside. Angie hopes he will free her now that she is helping him, but Junior wants to go to the tunnel alone. Jim goes to the police station and finds Linda locked up instead of Paul. He lets her out, and they discover Paul is left with a rifle and bullets. Linda immediately gets to looking for the criminal, knowing that he must be in the forest where he frequently goes hunting. Meanwhile, Jim organizes a search party. Carolyn is at the diner, worried for Nori. She has stayed the night at Joe's without telling her mothers. Jim arrives at the diner and asks people to join the search party for Paul. He also makes Barbie join them since he was a good leader when the house was on fire. They make it to the forest, where Barbie shows his expertise and reveals he used to be in the military. Junior is on his way to the tunnel when Julia notices him. She asks him where he is going with the backpack, but he answers her nervously, which makes her suspicious. She follows him and reaches the tunnel. Joe and Nori are having breakfast at Joe's house. He is nervous because he has never been alone with a girl prior to this. Nori, on the other hand, is confident and witty. As they talk, Ben brings in 2 more girls to charge their phones. He wants to use the generator to impress them, unaware that it is an important commodity. Joe has to reluctantly let them in. In the woods, the search party runs into Paul, who shoots a guy in his leg. A second guy stays to take care of him, while Jim and Barbie run behind Paul. In the tunnels, Junior reaches the end and finds out the dome runs through it as well. He gets too close to the wall, which makes his flashlight burst like the sheriff's pacemaker. Julia comes out to warn him, but he is not happy that she followed him. Junior loses his mind and starts punching the invisible wall until Julia stops him. They sit down to talk and rest for a while. Julia tells him that she is stuck in her lousy job as a journalist because of a mistake she made in the past. As they chat, Junior reveals that his bruises were caused by Barbie. He asks her to stay away from the guy, making it seem like Barbie hit him for no reason. By now, Joe's house is filled with people using his electronics. A bully tries to make people pay for the electricity that he doesn't even own. When no one stands against him, Nori takes the matters into her own hands. The conversation gets heated, but before anything happens, the lights go out. Nori is happy that Joe stood up for her. Meanwhile, in the woods, Barbie and Jim bump into their target, but are stuck because Paul also has his rifle out. He is seconds away from killing Jim when Linda appears behind and shoots him dead. At Joe's house, Carolyn arrives and asks her daughter to be more responsible. Joe and Nori hold hands, which creates strange sparks and sends them both into a seizure. They again collectively chant about some kind of pink stars falling in line. In the bunker, Junior visits Angie again, this time with a first aid kit. She helps him dress the wounds on his knuckles, but secretly keeps a pair of scissors to herself. Julia has started to suspect him after what Junior told her. When he is in the shower, she goes through his belongings.
After 3 days of being trapped inside the dome, the people of Chester's Mill start to lose their minds. Moreover, the soldiers appointed to guard the outside of the dome pack up and leave. This causes a riot that has to be stopped by the town's mortician Lester. He chants Bible verses and relates the disaster to the God's wrath that everyone from Chester's Mill should face. The people calm down, but with the town's resources running low, it is only a matter of time before they go wild. Suddenly, Linda falls unconscious and has to be rushed to the hospital. Meanwhile, Angie is still locked inside the bunker. Junior comes to visit with clothes and food. Angie secretly brings out the scissors she hid yesterday and attacks him, but the attempt goes in vain when Junior swiftly dodges. He says that he loves her the most, but she has to stay in the bunker until she loves him back. When she is alone, Angie tries to bang on the pipelines on the wall. It causes a pipeline to break, filling the bunker with water. She falls off the bed in the process and passes out. Julia is still investigating her husband Peter's disappearance. She finds his car in front of DJ Phil's trailer and asks him about it. It turns out Peter sold the car to Phil right before the dome appeared. Phil also reveals he is friends with Barbie, which means Barbie has been lying about not knowing anyone in the town. Suddenly, Phil falls unconscious as Linda did earlier. He is rushed to the hospital where several people with similar problems have gathered. Joe and Nori are also at the hospital. Alice and Carolyn are worried about them after they had a seizure last night. Alice, being a doctor, volunteers to help around the hospital that lacks medical professionals. An epidemic has spread around the town, but the hospital runs out of masks and gloves and has a minimal supply of antibiotics. Still, Alice and the nurses try their best to help everyone. Julia confronts Barbie about his lies, but before he can explain himself, she falls unconscious. Alice assumes that the people might be suffering from meningitis, but they do not have spinal tap kits to confirm the suspicion. Jim hands Junior a gun to guard the hospital and stop anyone infected from coming outside. This is the only plausible way to stop the spread. After that, Barbie and Jim leave for the town's pharmacist to bring more medicines to the hospital. Angie wakes up when the water level rises up to her nose. She immediately tries to stop the flow, but the damage to the pipes is too big to be fixed by one person. In the hospital, Julia meets Phil, who tells her that he was supposed to meet Peter in a cabin. The doctors stop her from talking to him further, but Julia won't calm down before she knows what her husband was doing in the cabin. A while later, Junior tells her that he found Barbie in a cabin the day they got into a fight. This makes Julia even more suspicious of him. She walks out of the hospital through the back door and drives away to look for the said place. In the meantime, Barbie and Jim walk into the pharmacist to see the place is in shambles. Someone came there before them and took away all the medicines. Jim suspects it was Lester and rushes to his home. Lester is burning the medicines in a furnace, claiming that God wants them all to die and they shouldn't resist it. The other two arrive and stop him before taking the medicines away. Linda is still in a critical condition in the hospital. An elderly woman gives up her medicine to save Linda's life since she is more important to the town. It causes the woman's death, which makes Linda feel awful. Some minutes later, the patients start to protest. They want to go out, but Junior threatens them with a gun. Seeing them scared, he puts it down and makes them understand the severity of the situation. Eventually, the protesters calm down and agree to quarantine. By now, Julia reaches the cabin and looks around. She finds nothing related to Barbie, but a pile of paperwork catches her attention. It shows that her husband is in a lot of debt and they are about to go bankrupt. Julia is shocked, having never known about Peter's side hustles. Suddenly, she falls unconscious. Joe and Nori have realized that they got the last seizure after they touched each other. They set up a phone and touch each other once again. A few seconds later, they go into seizures and both say something about the pink stars falling in line. They get better in no time and check the video. The results are shocking, but they decide to keep it a secret from the elders. Barbie goes to the cabin to find an unconscious Julia on the floor. He immediately helps her and gets her to the hospital, even though she might have found out that he killed Peter. Linda tells Jim about the bravery Junior showed that day. Since she is low on deputies, she appoints him to the police force. When Julia wakes up, she asks Barbie about his relationship with Peter. It turns out Barbie works as an enforcer for a betting company. His job is to get money from the people who refuse to pay after losing. Peter lost a lot of money in a bet, hence Barbie was sent to get money from him. Julia is shocked to find out the truth, but Barbie doesn't tell her about his meeting with Peter. At night, Jim returns home to see Lester waiting for him. He has come to return the money they got from the propane import. It is then revealed that they were selling it to youngsters outside the town to create recreational medicines. They made a lot of money using their position, but now, at the time of emergency, Lester wants to let go of all of it. After he leaves, Jim hears bangings on the house's pipeline. He goes down to the bunker to finally see Angie chained to the bed. Angie begs him to let her free, but Jim doesn't listen, scared that his son will be convicted. The following morning, Lester returns to Jim. He claims to have heard the word Moab repeatedly, but Jim thinks it's his hearing aid malfunctioning. Lester has completely lost his mind and believes that he is a messenger of the dome. Joe and Nori are together when they see a large group of butterflies stuck to the other side of the dome. It is affecting the magnetic field of the atmosphere, attracting non-seasonal butterflies towards itself. When they clear up, many buses filled with civilians arrive outside Chester's mill. They are the relatives of the people stuck inside, coming to say hi as per the government's orders. Several people gather near the dome to meet their loved ones who they haven't talked to in a while. Linda also meets her fiancé. Outside, the appearance of the dome has become international news. Several reporters are covering the emotional reunion of the separated people. Meanwhile, Lester continues telling people about Moab and how God is leading them to death. Jim tries to stop him, but Lester in turn wants him to confess his wrongdoings to the public. He gives Jim a day to come clean and threatens to reveal his crime if he doesn't. Julia meets her sister-in-law in the crowd, who shows her a letter from Peter. In it, he apologizes to everyone for what he is about to do and says Julia deserves better. A devastated Julia assumes he has run away because of the debts. By the end of the day, the military clears up the visitors and starts moving away. Barbie uses his old badge to talk to a soldier and ask him what is going on. Even the guy doesn't know what the government plans to do, but they have been ordered to clear up the area as soon as possible and never think of returning. The news shocks Barbie, and he tries thinking of a plausible explanation for the order. Then he remembers Lester talking about Moab and figures out it means mother of all bombs. The military plans to bomb Chester's mill to get rid of the dome. It is probably because the dome is altering the magnetic field and harming the life of the organisms outside. Today's visit of the civilians was also the last gift to the people of Chester's mill before their death. He tells Julia, Linda, and Jim about this, and they all work to alert the people. Everyone is asked to gather at the underground tunnel, which is their only hope for survival. Knowing that they are about to die anyway, Jim lets go of Angie. She runs to her house but cannot find her brother Joe. In one of the rooms, Junior is waiting for her with a gun. He tells her about the bomb and apologizes for everything he has done to her. After finding out they're gonna die, Angie lovingly puts him on her lap and waits for the impact. In the tunnel, Alice and Carolyn panic because Nori is nowhere to be seen. Meanwhile, Nori and Joe are outside, still looking for Angie to alert her about the bomb. Joe is worried to death about his sister, who hasn't returned home since the night the dome appeared. At exactly 1:15, the missile is launched. Joe and Nori see it and lock lips for the last kiss before their deaths. But to their luck, the dome stops the missile and protects the entire town and its people. Jim runs to the border to see the areas outside of the dome have been completely destroyed, but the bomb didn't cause a single dent to it. He is joined by Lester, who still wants him to come clean to the public. Since no one is around, Jim takes the opportunity to stick Lester's hearing aid to the dome, which causes it to explode and kills him instantly. Soon, everyone comes to the borders to witness the damage caused by the bomb. Angie is still with Junior in her room. She assumes he is going to lock her again and attacks him before he makes the first move.
Subscribe for more videos like this, turn on notifications, and leave a like to help the channel out. Thank you for watching.